I'm on like this emotional roller coaster with your story.
This is Hayley Paige.
Good afternoon, everyone. I signed an employment agreement that included a non-compete clause.
I want people to know how easy it is to get into a bad deal.
My former employer sued me. I was forbidden from using my own birth name.
You're like, you're going to see me.
Exactly.
Was that your first lawsuit?
Oh, yeah.
The first real lawsuit, you think you're going to jail. In your non-compete, it said that you can't wear a wedding dress on your own wedding. Did you ever feel like you were losing hope?
Yes. I always get like a little emotional when I think about, the bride.
No, don't be sorry.
Just coming on Khloe to cry. There are so many teachable lessons in life. This was something that I just had to survive.
I am Hayley Paige. I'm Hayley Paige.
Let's all scream it. Hayley Paige. What was the fastest turnaround for a wedding dress?
It has to be my sister's.
No.
Yeah. So she had a surprise wedding.
Who surprised her? Well, Hayley, thank you for coming on Khloé in Wonderland. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm on like this emotional roller coaster with your story. But before we get into that, I would love for you to just sort of say who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Hayley Paige.
Yeah.
Which is so fun to say for many obvious reasons.
Yes. Let's all scream it.
Yes. And I'm a wedding dress designer. Also did a little detour into shoes during a non-compete.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just a girl that loves pretty dresses and making women feel beautiful. It's always been like my love language, I feel.
And you started designing really young.
Yeah.
You were in your early 20s or probably younger than that.
Yeah, really young. My grandmother taught me to sew. And that early exposure was pretty much everything for me because it led me on the trajectory of just wanting to create and communicate that way through design.
And were you always fixated on wedding dresses?
Yes, became my identity very
Yes.
young in life. And I think it was just a way to kind of express myself, but
Mhm.
also feel connected to what I wanted to say. And it made me feel the most confident.
And at what age was that your niche?
It was the first dress I ever designed was a hot pink midi wedding dress.
No way.
And my mother was really, really encouraging of
I love
creating,
that.
bought me a sewing machine.
Love that.
So, and I think just growing up in the 90s, being like a classic millennial, I love Disney princesses,
Represent.
and romance, all the good stuff. So,
Did you always fantasize about your own wedding? Like, were you obsessed with weddings or you just had a gift for wedding dresses?
I think I was just obsessed with the idea of this one dress carrying so much memory and meaning and it kind of transcending just normal fashion because,
Right.
I mean, as you know, with fashion, it can be so intimidating at times.
Yes.
To feel like you have to either be a certain shape or silhouette or have a vibe to pull something off. And I
Yeah.
feel like Bridal is kind of the equalizer
Mhm.
in that anyone can be a main character as the bride. So
I love that. You've been so incredible about being as vulnerable as you are and being so open and honest about your journey. You signed a deal when you were 25.
it essentially was an employment contract. And being at the stage I was in my designer journey, it just was like the opportunity of a lifetime.
Yes.
Right. And like something I had always dreamed of doing. And here I was getting the opportunity to ring lead my own collection
Mhm.
and have my name, up on
Lights
Yes.
everywhere.
around
Yes.
my show. And I didn't want anything to jeopardize that. I had never hired a lawyer before. I had no money to hire a lawyer. So there are a lot of factors that kind of created an environment in which I mistook an opportunity for safety
Mhm.
and didn't want to fumble it either because if I pushed back or if I was asking too many questions, maybe they would see me as difficult. And ultimately I was like, I have a goal. I just want
Right.
to get out there and be a designer. And, so I signed this contract without a lawyer and essentially gave the right for the company to trademark my name.
And not to interrupt you, but I think it is so important what you just said because you are not the only one that has done that. This happens all the time and in so many different industries. It could be music, it can be, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fashion, anything. I have signed crazy things in my life that I'm like, and I had lawyers. They just maybe weren't great, who knows? But I'm like, what the did I just sign? I want people to know how easy it is to get into a bad deal and with intimidation or anything like that. And that's essentially what happened to you.
Yeah, and it also made me realize that a contract is really intellectual property software, and
Mm-hmm.
software needs to be updated.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're in a situation where somebody is encouraging you to sign a long-term contract, you're essentially trying to understand what you're going to be worth in X amount of years.
Oh, yeah.
And when you don't know what your value is, somebody else is going to define it for you. And so in that
Crazy.
scenario, I really took away so many lessons from the legalese world, of course, which is what we definitely want to share through the nonprofit now. But it's more than that because it's a way for you to negotiate for yourself
Mm-hmm.
when you might not have the full picture.
The beginning, you were 25 years old. You signed with JLM Couture. And at that time, what was going on in your life?
I was pretty eager to just get out there and show people what I could do. And I really have an optimism hardwired in my soul. And I think that operating from a place like that can be reckless at times because you just think anything is figure outable, right? Anything can be negotiated. And that was something I really tethered with because you just start operating and you have this amazing job, which I did. And I got to connect with all these women and design these dresses and Beyonce say yes to the dress. And
Yes.
it was just this great momentum. And I just felt because this is going so well over here, I don't want to ruffle feathers over here. And someday I'll address this and it'll work out, right?
What were the dreams you had early on as a new up and coming wedding designer?
I feel like it was just about making women feel secure
Mm.
and doing that a very specific way. I think growing up a gymnast and also just a girl,
Mhm.
you have your own insecurities and feelings of worthiness and trying to figure out where your worth and identity is tied to. And dress wear is just something where I would watch a woman put a dress on and she would feel so good about herself. And that was like a dopamine hit,
Yeah.
because it's the fact that we're communicating this way, but I'm also creating something that she loves and then she makes it her own. And there's like this passing of the torch. And so I think that was the dream in itself, is that feeling of this is my purpose.
Well, and I think it says something so special about you that you are choosing to be a designer in a field that is truly the most special day in a woman's life. And it's a dress that hopefully that person passes on to their daughter or their granddaughter. And it's such like, I'm not trying to discredit any other clothing. Everything is so special and people put so much time and effort into it. But there, it's like the wedding dress. That is like the ultimate and the omega of clothing to people.
I mean, and you have worn a wedding dress before.
Yes, I have.
Did you feel like just the dress itself? Do
I
you still feel
loved it.
connected to it?
I do. I got married 9 days after getting engaged very quickly. I knew my husband for 30 days, so really nuts. I was fortunate enough that somehow my mom called up Vera Wang and we were like, we're getting married. And then she's like, yeah, come to New York. I think she thought like in a few months I'm getting married. And then I go to the Vera Wang store in New York.
Mhm.
She's like, so when's the wedding? I'm like, oh, in like 5 days. She's like, oh, so I was limited to what I could wear.
Right.
I still loved my dress. I thought it was beautiful and timeless. If I got to customize something at a time, it would probably be just more extravagant, but I loved my dress. It's classic. I have it. It's beautiful. My bridesmaids' dresses were all Vera and just, it's so special. And I'll remember that forever. But you're right, like how you feel in it. If it's simple or princess-like, you just feel like the most beautiful girl in the room. And I
Right.
guess that's the goal.
It is the extension of your love
I
and your
know.
love story.
Do you have a signature wedding dress, do you think?
We run on whimsy, I would say, which includes a lot of texture and color, a lot of unique juxtapositions. We've done like laser cut, some faux leather. I like to experiment
love
with
that.
textiles because I
Mhm.
actually graduated with a bachelor's of science
Mm,
in fiber science. So you learn about the movements and behaviors of textures. And so
I love
that
that.
kind of plays a role in it. But we have like a rainbow wedding dress, so we
I
really
love
like to
that.
just
Yes. And
anything goes.
I do think that so much has changed, that people love to have the variety and versatility now, and they wanna stand out, and they wanna do something different. It's not your traditional wedding dresses anymore, but that's so
Mhm.
special. And people, it's their day. They have the right to do whatever they want.
Exactly. Go nuance.
What I find frustrating and infuriating and also so hard to imagine, this is your name, not only your brand, but it's your personal real name. And now your name gets taken away from you. What does that mean exactly? Like even on a personal level?
It was actually during a negotiation period. So I was attempting to continue doing what I was doing. So there was a good faith negotiation effort. And during that period, there was just such a wide delta in the expectations, and circumstances were so different than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so the goalpost was just, it was far.
Mhm.
And I ended up getting served a lawsuit.
Mm.
And so that happened during COVID, and it was pretty jarring and scary, you know,
Yes.
like, am I going to jail?
Yes.
Straight to jail. It was
that
really
your first
frightening.
lawsuit?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the
Well,
first one is, or like the first
the first big one,
one?
because I had a divorce, which was a different kind of lawsuit.
Yes.
But
No, the first real lawsuit, you think you're going to jail.
gut punch.
Yes.
And like, what did I do?
What did I do? And what
Yes.
happens? And do I go in front of a jury? Like you have,
Yes.
yes. Oh my gosh.
And you think of it like
and
a
then
night
after
court.
your fifth, you're fine. I'm just
And you're like,
kidding.
this is a walk in the
You're
park.
fine.
Well, I look forward to getting there, but also not getting
Right.
there.
Oh my gosh. It means you made it. That's all I think. I'm like,
Adulting hardcore.
adulting.
But it was really scary. And then there was an emergency TRO
Mm.
granted within a matter of days. So I had days to hire litigation, prepare my case.
But a restraining order?
Yes.
Why?
So it was,
So a TRO is a restraining order.
yes,
But why
temporary
would
restraining order. Basically, there was arguments made about the name itself.
Okay.
And that there was harm of some sort, because that's basically how you get a TRO.
Yes.
And, you know, I was learning this on the spot, but within a matter of 48 hours, I had to hand over all my personal passwords for my social media accounts.
that quickly?
And I couldn't touch anything. So like all my texts with my fiance and like, or DMs, you know,
Right.
and like really private messages with your
Yes.
girlfriends and memes you don't want anyone
Of
seeing.
course. If
Like
someone
everything.
went through one of my DMs, I would be murdered.
Hyperventilating.
You know, they would kill me.
Yeah, so
That's
that.
not okay.
And then the name, which is kind of ludicrous because it had been 30 something years of me using my name with no problem. And then all of a
Yes.
sudden I couldn't even say it at Starbucks, you know? So it was like, whoa, that's like, I didn't even know what to do with it at that point because it was so bizarre to me. And then the third part was really just a matter of, I'm not going to be able to work under this kind of duress. And so I actually resigned. And I was still technically under contract because there were 2 years left on my non-compete. And so it was just so complex. There was a lot of nuance to understanding the lawsuit. It was COVID, so I had nothing better to do but to learn, okay, what have I done?
Right.
And how am I going to figure this out? Because the interesting thing about a contract is you have all these words on paper,
Right.
but then it's how it's being interpreted.
Mm-hmm.
And so to the degree to which it was being interpreted was where I just kind of felt gobsmacked because I couldn't believe that so much was going well for so long, despite just a negotiation of trying to work things out. It all of a sudden was this like detrimental, like,
Yeah. And why they would go that extreme so quickly.
yes. So there was like a lot to negotiate and manage in just taking inventory on the situation.
And being that it's COVID, I imagine the legal aspect would be much more delayed than life before COVID.
You would think, but it was pretty fast and furious.
Oh, wow.
And so this led to just like a back and forth, you know, claim after back and forth. And here you are basically ping-ponging in the beginning part of the lawsuit. And like you said, I was like, do I go to court? Like,
Right.
and we had some Zooms where I was like shaking and terrified.
Understood.
Couldn't imagine going in person,
No.
you know, but like you're just kind of thrown into it. And I think the part about being disassociated from my community was particularly scary because all of a sudden they were posting to my account, to Miss Hayley Paige.
Stop.
And so my family and friends who weren't told what was going on, they still thought it was me.
No, that's very violating.
So it was I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what
And
to
were
do.
they pretending to be you?
It was just a very scary situation of people not knowing.
Right.
And so for me, I was like, I've always been really open and transparent. That's something I feel like you can relate to, and being just you want to be salt of the earth, sugar of the sea kind of
Mhm.
person, right? And I felt misinterpreted and misappropriated kind of in that situation. So I got on another Instagram account with like barely any followers and just shared legally and factually what was going on.
You guys know I recently got a puppy, Peppermint, and I'm not even going to pretend I'm normal about it. I fully accept that I've become one of those dog parents, the kind who takes way too many photos, talks to their dog like they're a person, and somehow she ends up having a better daily routine than I do. Peppermint already has multiple beds around the house, a rotation of toys, and honestly, I catch myself checking on her like she's a toddler. But if you're a dog parent, I feel like you get it. They really do become a part of the family. And if anyone understands that level of obsession, it's Ollie. They're just as obsessed with your dog as you are. Ollie makes fresh food for dogs that's developed by real chefs and backed by vet nutritionists. So you know your pup is getting high quality meals made with ingredients you can feel good about. And what I love is that everything is personalized to your dog. When you start, they create a plan based on your dog's needs and portion the meals just for you. It even comes with a pup tainer and a scoop, so feeding them is super easy. But Ollie doesn't just stop at food. Through their app, you can actually check in on your dog's health with real vets. You upload a picture and their team can check things like your dog's weight, digestion, teeth, and coat. It's honestly such a great way to keep an eye on how your pup is doing. Get ready for both you and your pup to be obsessed. Head to ollie.com/Wonderland. Tell them all about your dog and use code Wonderland to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer an obsession guarantee. If you're not completely obsessed, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/Wonderland and enter code Wonderland to get 60% off your first box. Ollie, feed the obsession. No matter what trends come across your feed, the things that make you look and feel your best are what stick with you from day to day. When it comes to staying healthy or losing weight, Weight Watchers says they have helped millions of people make lasting changes. That's why so many of my friends tell me they love using Weight Watchers. This isn't the same Weight Watchers from years ago. They have completely reimagined their app. It's modern, flexible, and genuinely supportive. So take another look. Whether you're focused on weight management without medication or you're curious about GLP-1s, I want to be clear. I'm not currently using a GLP-1, but I've always been open about my health journey. And what I respect about Weight Watchers is how thoughtfully they approach it. There's real education and real structure and real support. For those exploring medication, Weight Watchers offers access to affordable GLP-1 options and has doctors and experts guiding you every step of the way. And according to Weight Watchers, 72% of MedPlus members say the GLP-1 Success Program helps reduce medication side effects. And Weight Watchers says members are losing 29% more weight when they engage with the Success Program versus taking medication alone. This is about sustainable health. How you eat, how you move, and how you feel day to day. No gimmicks, no quick fixes, just science-backed support from a brand that has helped tens of millions of people over the years. If you're ready to do this in a way that actually fits in with your busy life, this is your sign. Go to WeightWatchers.com and use code Khloe for an extra 20% off your first month. That's 20% off your first month at WeightWatchers.com with code Khloe. Offer applies to select plans. Restrictions apply, and the offer ends May 31st, 2026. So I have a few questions that I don't even know if you know the answers to. So for your account that then got swiped from you, why couldn't you just change the handle of your name?
So, very good argument to make.
Yes.
Basically, the argument that they were making is that in trademark law, and because there was an intellectual property provision to my contract,
Mm-hmm.
that the two of those things tied together somewhat created a catch-all where
That is
anything bearing that name,
crazy.
they would own the property of, right? So that was at least the argument, to my knowledge, that they were kind of making at that time. And to me, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, well, it's an employment contract. I was a head designer. I wasn't a social media director. Social media became a thing, right?
Right.
And I posted freely, but it's not like I was getting paid to post.
Correct.
So there was the arguments on both sides, but it really became this thing of like, hey, where's your Snapchat, your Pinterest,
My
your
gosh.
TikTok, and so like you can imagine like all the hours that you pour into,
Yes.
and it is an extension of who you are. You at least try to be as authentic as you can on social media for the most part.
No, that is
And
so
then it was
violating.
So luckily that video that I posted went viral.
Well, I was just going to ask. So you then go on this other account that doesn't have a lot of followers.
Mhm.
How does that go viral?
So it was
How
just
does anything go viral? I don't really know.
I know.
I
It
really
was
don't understand.
community. It was the public court. And I say that with so much gentle kindness because really that is what saved my entire life. Like the public court is the people showed up for me. They shared it. They told bridal stores, because I'm a B2B business mostly. So my dresses are sold to bridal stores. And you have these store owners that are like, wait, what? Like Hayley's not behind the collection anymore. And wait, what? She's not behind her Instagram. And wait, what?
Right.
So there was kind of that chain reaction. And you just had this compounding community rally.
Well, that's amazing you had that. But this is
Yes.
like so unbelievable to me.
It's a little bananas.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was bananas.
It's
I was not winning in the legal court. So that was scary.
And it's so infuriating. You're like, this is my name. I was born with this name. That's horrible. So one of the biggest issues in your lawsuit was your non-compete.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does that mean to the people that are listening? What is a non-compete?
It's essentially you agreeing to stay out of an industry for typically a designated period of time, right? Oftentimes it comes with an exchange of money or monetary compensation. And it is a way for a business to protect, oftentimes it's proprietary technology or their proprietary goods, right?
Mhm.
And so in my situation, it's art. So it's not really proprietary, but I was put under the 2-year non-compete of my contract. And then 2 days before that non-compete was up, there was another argument made that it was an extension of 5 years.
Stop.
Yeah. And that one wasn't so much tied to the name, Hayley
Okay.
Paige, but me, Hayley Paige, the person. And
Which
so
means you can't design elsewhere
I couldn't design using my name or design wedding dresses at all.
at all. In
No
the
matter what
category.
name I used, right? So, and that actually stuck in the district court. So then I was under a 5-year non-compete and I wasn't getting commission or paid. So it was essentially a 7-year unpaid non-compete
And not
in
that
the full story.
and not that this matters, but could you design different categories?
I could.
Okay.
So that was really the pivot in my brain that made sense is like, okay, I can't design wedding dresses. I am going to even stay away from dresses because I don't want anything to be misconstrued. At that point, I felt like I was really being watched, and I was even found in contempt of court for sketching on social media. And so that
You
was
have
like,
got to be kidding me.
I was like in big trouble. It was a very, very scary time. And
Scary time, but also like you must be a big threat. Do you know what I mean?
That's
like in a
nice.
way, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, you guys are so concerned about little old me. Like that, it's a little flattering now that we're past it. At the time, I'd be like, contempt of court. That sounds so scary. Like it's all
Yes.
insane because you're sketching.
Sketching on social media on that other account, right? But it was considered promotional and argued that way. And so at that point, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to sit for 5 years and have a victim consciousness. Like, that's not going to do any good for me. And so luckily, again, this community rally was like, go design something else, And so shoes were totally non-competitive, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure you could just wear shoes as a wedding dress, but let's not try to make
No.
that reach of an
No.
argument. But I did shoes for a while, and I changed my name publicly to Cheval, which is the French word for horse. And so I built a new brand around that.
But what was your personal name?
I had my legal name that I couldn't use publicly or in any business or commerce.
But if I met you, I can be like, hi, Hayley. But you said like at Starbucks, you couldn't say your name.
I would not be able to give you permission to use the name.
Oh my gosh.
And it was pretty intense because the problem is that now that you have social branding and you have personal branding, you're technically advertising, right?
Right.
And so if a name is a trademark and I am that person, it was just so convoluted that it was like, it's not even worth it, And so for a good period of the 2 years, I was going by a girl you might know because
Yes.
I was like, I'm just a girl you might know, maybe not.
Yeah.
But like,
No, but it's clever and cute. And I love that.
so
But
that was the
what,
vibe.
what insanity?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I interrupted you about the shoes. I'm so sorry. I'm just
No,
like,
it
it's
is
mind blowing.
a little hard to believe at times, but it also helped me that it was so unbelievable because it really did get the attention of a lot of legal people, attorneys, big law firms. It got the attention of Senator Warren for, come to speak at Congress, give your testimony
That's
on
crazy.
non-competes. And so there was to every part of my journey where there was this feeling of like an anchor. I also had a sail. And so like I
Yes.
got to choose between the two.
I
And
love that.
I was like, I'm going to keep staying positive, just more responsively positive,
Mhm.
and not feel like this scary lawsuit is my identity. Because that's where I think I would have really lost myself.
Yeah, but I love that you've taken negatives and you've turned them into positives and you do find the sale and everything. And what made you pick the name?
It really was just a fun process of what name did I like, right? And there were moments where I would just go listen to music and kind of get in a zone. And I kept going back to the song by America, which was A Horse with No Name.
Mhm.
That's
You
like a
right.
little bit of humor.
I was going to say this sort of just it embodies your whole story. Yes.
I was like, horse. And then cheval. And I was like, oh, there's a Cheval Blanc restaurant my mentor took me to once. And I love that name. And it felt
Mm.
very elegant but also strong and masculine. And,
Yeah.
like I'm going to make sure circumstances are not in the driver's seat from here on out and like run against the wind. And so I just liked that name and went
Yeah.
with it.
Did you ever feel like you were losing hope?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
And
was definitely a lot of moments of just you do need to sit with your grief because there's obviously something that's missing, right? And
mhm.
you feel it like that emptiness. And I always get like a little emotional when I think about
Oh,
sorry, the
no,
brides.
don't be sorry.
Sorry.
No, but it shows how much passion and love you have for what you do. And you getting emotional for the brides. I think that's why everyone is rooting and rallying for you. People spread your story because it's not that you're just some designer that's doing something in autopilot and just doing it for money. You're doing it for these women and you are a crusader. And I think the horse is so fitting because I think of you as, the Princess Charming, but, on the white horse and coming in to save the day. And that's like when I heard the name, that's what I thought of. I'm like, of course, this white horse, white wedding dress. And
Yeah, it was one of those things where when you put your problem out into the world, you know that people are going to feel the weight of it.
mm,
And I just didn't want it to tarnish all these beautiful moments that these brides have had, because life can really kick you, you know, gut punch you and also feel like, okay, I'm learning these lessons. It feels like a roundhouse kick to the face, but like I'm learning these things that I needed to know the long scenic route. But there was something where I just didn't want the residual stress to impact those moments, right?
right.
And I actually didn't experience that. I had so much support from these brides, but I also just felt like I couldn't communicate with as many of them as I wanted to on social and like
Mhm.
let them know that like
Right.
they should go buy a Hayley Paige dress if they still want one.
What you're showing for other people, like, okay, I made these mistakes. Don't copy what I do, but you're doing it in a way that's so relatable. And even when you go and talk in front of Congress and you're doing something that's so intimidating and big, you're still doing it, but for the voice of everyone else that didn't have a voice, for the voiceless. And I just think that's really big of you. And I think so much of why you are now where you are and like you've gone full circle and now you're out on top is because of the spirit you have, because not everyone can do that.
Thank you. It's been really shapeshifty, and like you said, when you go through things where part of you breaks,
Mhm.
it you realize it's a shedding and that there is something you can leave behind and that's okay
Yeah.
because the strongest pieces are left.
Yeah.
And that's what you take with you to rebuild. And that's just something I've just kept close to the heart of like, you're never actually starting over, ever,
Mm-mm.
because your experience, your credibility, even your mistakes have got you to where you are now, And so, like, seeing the full picture. And I bet you read some Carl Jung with cosmic relevance and thinking of how when you scale out and you really think about how special it is to be in the position you're in, to be alive and to have your faith and have your family and have all these things, you start to realize that it's just so rare. And so to get caught up in the weeds of these things that feel circumstantial at times or feel like they're pulling you back or they're breaking parts of you, it's okay because it's death to certain parts of your ego. Leave it behind, right? And then rebuild.
But such a beautiful mentality, because not everyone has that mindset. But we do have to not let those things, let them crumble us. We have to use them and make it better and stronger. And you're right. Like even the most traumatic things, like the light, it's the shedding. The light does still come in.
That's right.
Something that I am mind blown on. So in your non-compete, which this is like so stupid to me and frustrates me, it said that you can't wear a wedding dress on your own wedding.
So the way the non-compete was phrased is it wasn't just tied to the name, right? It was me, the human being, as well. And what was scary about basically being in contempt of court for sketching online is that the argument was made about promotion because social media is promotion.
Yes.
And so when I really thought about it in that situation, because my fiance and I had gotten engaged in 2018, 7 years later, we're still engaged. But we just thought about, okay, but if we were to get married, first of all, it's weird because like, does he say my name? Can he say my name? Like if it's filmed, no. If there are pictures or video, no.
Oh.
And then if I was to wear a dress, would it be considered competitive?
Oh,
because
this is crazy.
Like, right? So it wasn't really addressed in that moment during lawsuit, but it's one of those things where I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm almost bankrupt here anyway. So like, let's take a beat, and my fiance has been my rock this whole entire time. So he was like, let's bench this for a bit and we'll revisit it when we can, or when it makes sense. So
do you think you have like trauma to get married because of all of this? It's just too much.
We, during that time, definitely felt like just a lot of components that were dramatic and traumatic. And I guess, too, there was a big part of me that thought legally, if I was to go like massively in debt, which I did, for my legal bills, like, why would you want to marry me, if I have debt, what I mean? And so like, I was thinking about all of those things just in that moment of time. And so it feels really cool that as a couple, we have grown so much because when we first met, we were like very content couple-y, like bake-offs, and
oh my gosh,
we were in a different stage of life, right? And then we went through this like explosion of things. And so we came out of it, we went through it together and grew, but we came out very different people, but still very dedicated to each other, which is wonderful. And now that we're like finally planning the wedding and we're getting married and all this good stuff is happening, we have a wedding dress that we can design. It just feels like we really appreciate the shoulder to shoulder and like the standing through the rain.
I love that.
So it's nice. It
is nice.
I'm definitely gonna cry all over my wedding, like all over him.
As you should.
I want to tell you guys about something I've been taking that I honestly wish I'd found sooner. It's called Armra, and it's a colostrum supplement, which sounds niche until you understand what colostrum actually is. And then you're like, okay, why does everyone not know about this? So here's the thing. We live in a world that is genuinely overwhelming for our bodies right now. Microplastics, processed food, constant screen time, chronic stress. Our biology was never built for any of this. And it shows up in ways that we've kind of normalized. Feeling sluggish, bloated, like you're aging faster than you should be, and just not feeling like yourself. Armra Colostrum is nature's original superfood. Colostrum is packed with over 400 bioactive nutrients that promote your body's resilience from the inside out, strengthening immune health, fortifying gut health, and fueling performance so you can stay sharp, strong, and at your best in a world that demands it. And when I say gut health, I want to be specific because I think a lot of us have tried probiotics and have been underwhelmed. Probiotics only address one part of the 4-part gut wall. Armra works on the whole system. So it's not about less bloating, it's about actually fortifying your gut architecture. It also does things for skin, hair, metabolism, immune health. It's genuinely a whole body thing. Elite athletes have used colostrum for years. It supports lean muscle, endurance, and recovery. It's like the supplement that does everything because it's working at a cellular level rather than targeting just one thing. And we've worked out an offer for my audience. Receive 30% off your first subscription order when you go to armra.com/Khloe or enter Khloe to get 30% off your first subscription order. That's ARMRA.com/Khloe. I want to talk about something that I feel like everybody needs in their medicine cabinet, and most people have never heard of. It's called active skin repair, and it has genuinely become one of those things that I reach for constantly. So here's what makes it different. Most skincare products, even the ones marketed as healing, are full of stuff that can actually be harsh on irritated skin. Active Skin Repair is a skin health brand that uses natural, non-toxic, medical-grade ingredients, and the key ingredient is something called hypochlorous acid. I know, that sounds very sciencey, but say it with me. Hypochlorous acid. It's actually a molecule your own body already produces. It's part of your natural immune response, so when you put it on your skin, it's basically just helping your body do what it already knows how to do. Cleanse, soothe, reduce inflammation, support healing, the works. It's also the same formulation that's trusted in hospitals, which tells you everything you need to know about how legit it actually is. And the range of things it works on is kind of wild. We're talking cuts, scrapes, burns, sunburns, acne, eczema, rosacea, diaper rash, like the full spectrum. It works on all skin types, all parts of your body, and face. So instead of having a different product for every different thing going on with your skin, you just have this one. Over 500,000 happy customers and thousands of 5-star reviews later, it's become one of those staples that once you have it, you can't imagine not having it. To learn more and get 20% off your order, visit activeskinrepair.com and use code Khloe. You can also find Active Skin Repair on Amazon and at your local CVS. One more time, that's activeskinrepair.com and use code Khloe. Okay, can we talk about Saie for a second? It's been on my radar lately and I feel like it needs to be on yours too. Because I feel like this brand has been having such a moment, and for a very good reason. So Saie is a clean, high-performance makeup brand, and I want to say that carefully because clean beauty gets thrown around so much that it almost doesn't mean anything anymore. But Saie is the real version of it. Their formulas don't just look good on your skin, they're actually working to improve your skin over time. Skincare properties built into every product. That's their whole thing. And once you try it, you immediately feel the difference. Their vibe is what I call effortless and elevated. That no makeup look that somehow makes you look like you just woke up, glowy and rested. They call it the signature Saie glow, and it's kind of the through line across everything they make. A few products I have to mention. The Glowy Super Gel is their #1 bestseller, and it has a cult following for a good reason. It's lightweight, non-comedogenic, and it gives you that lit from within glow that doesn't look like a product. It just looks like great skin. The Slip Tint Tinted Moisturizer is another one that I love. It's sheer and dewy, and it has SPF 35 built in with non-nano zinc oxide, so you're protecting your skin while you're wearing it. And the Dew Blush, a liquid cream blush that blends seamlessly and gives the most beautiful stained glass effect on the cheeks. No streaks, no harshness, just a wash of pretty color. And the timing on this is genuinely great because Sephora's Spring Savings event kicks off April 10th with up to 20% off. Start building your basket with Saie now.
I want to hear about your journey to the Senate and like how crazy that is and how, like, first of all, I have to public speak, but I just want to die every time.
What? You're so good at speaking.
Oh
That's
my gosh, I
crazy.
cannot handle it. Even this, I'm always like talking and I'm listening, like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be like running this show and like steering this, navigating it, because I get so into it and I like to actively listen. And so when I'm also doing something public speaking, I don't want to memorize.
I was going to say, do you like memorizing or no?
No.
Because you never have to memorize for your show or for like.
And I'm
just
such a
you.
chit chatter that I just want to,
Chatty Cathy.
yeah, just like talk and hang with you. That I'm like, oh my gosh.
I feel like the Senate would appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, that's too scary for me. But tell me about that. Tell me about your journey there and your advocacy work.
So Senator Warren slid into my DMs, believe it or not.
Amazing.
Which was incredible. I was like, wait, what is happening?
That is
catfish?
that is amazing.
But yeah, she had followed the story and she watched Say Yes to the Dress. And so
That is so cute.
she's been fighting for banning non-competes, the FTC and the whole shebang. And so she just said, I'd love for you to come testify and tell your story. And what was really poetic about it was that I had actually just gotten my intellectual property back in a bankruptcy court.
Oh, amazing.
And so this was maybe a month later that I was being invited to tell the story start to finish. And I think during the lawsuit, there were parts where I just was so afraid that something I was saying would be misinterpreted or used against me in the court of law.
Which it could be. Yes.
And
it's horrible.
You're on the other side of it. And now I'm like, oh, like my shoulders went down, like I can breathe. And I actually went into it very nervous as well, but with a bit of resolve. Because first of all, I just have to tell my story, which is the easiest thing in the world when you're just saying what happened, right? But I also just felt this Elle Woods like pomp and pageantry of it, that this is it, girls. Like let's go, girls, you know, kick down the door and like wear a pink suit. And so I just like really went into it because I couldn't believe it. I felt like God was giving me this moment to like up there and just say like, here's what happened and here's why you need to be careful when you sign these contracts, you know? And so that's really what it meant to me. And my parents were there and Conrad came and my lawyers came. So it was like this like group moment and just
camaraderie going in together.
Yes.
During all of this and you going through that journey and then getting your name back in the bankruptcy court, all of that. But on this way, were people through your new social media account, were they telling you that they've been in similar situations? Like what made you start your nonprofit?
Yes. So after we had put the problem out.
Isn't that what the Senate, also what you were speaking, don't they sort of align?
They do.
Okay.
The nonprofit is really about providing advocacy to young entrepreneurs and creators, especially during those formative years when they're likely to fall prey to one-sided or predatory contracts, right? And they're operating with minimal resources. Luckily, we do have like ChatGPT and these things that you could just throw the contract in. Let's see what it says.
Insane now.
But
it is.
Lawyers still cannot be replaced, I will say. Haynes Boone is great. My legal team was fabulous. But it really was this way to create conversation about what's going on here, because especially in the influencer world and personal branding world, where you have these exclusivity contracts you sign, all these perpetuities, all this name and likeness stuff. You've got AI coming into the picture now. Who owns what? And it really is complex and convoluted, and everyone is almost at a disadvantage if you're not investing and learning from it. And so our nonprofit has funding for contracts. We provide access to low bono and pro bono attorneys because a number of law firms are required to have pro bono hours served. And so many lawyers and law firms reach out to me because of the case. They're like, what's happening over here? You know, and
that's crazy.
Let me help with other creators. And so we do that. And then we also just share mostly female stories, but stories of, you know, Kate Spade, Halston, Bobby Brown. I mean, I am not special in that this has happened before, and it unfortunately probably will happen again. And so the best we can do is try to get ahead of it and not scare creators, just arm them with the right resources to at least start out on the right foot and not feel like they're being difficult just because they're trying to understand a contract or ask questions.
I forgot about the Kate Spade one. I like remember that so vividly now.
But the one thing I will share is that we did change case law, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
My case, one of the things that was particularly strange was the social media element, right? Because like, how can it be a catch-all? I was a designer. Why does a social media account have anything to do with a trademark, right? Why didn't they just change the handle name? And so what we proved after 2 trips to an appellate court, so we had to do 2 huge appeals. They found basic property law can be applied to a social media account. So unless the account was transferred or sold or written into a contract to transfer over, it belongs to the original holder and opener of the account.
Thank goodness.
And so I got my
congratulations.
Yes. And then out case law.
So you did get your account back.
I did. I got it back.
Gosh, I'm like, at this point, screw those people. Not your account, but the people that stole it. I'm like, this is crazy. I want everything back from them.
I want it all. But it was also so funny because I had all these DMs where like, you'll see a DM from like 2021 and it's like, give her account back.
No.
And then the next one is like 4 years later and it's like, hi, sunshine.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad you're back.
I'm so happy you're back.
The duality of it.
But also just to see how everyone rallied for you. And like so many of them are people you don't know. And it's so incredible. Like sometimes social media can get really overwhelming, but then there's so much good to it as well. How did it make you feel to use your name for the first time after you won all your lawsuits and you were able to be creative and free of all of what was going on?
It was a bit indescribable.
I bet.
I immediately thought of my parents because Mimi and Jeff, you know, they felt like they had done something wrong, right?
Yes,
Like,
Mimi and
should
Jeff.
we have, yes, should we have
Yes.
given them, you know, a lawyer, you know? And I think the fact that they named me, and here I was doing something where some people were like, oh, well, you sold your name. And it's like, no, I got a job. Like, you know, this was a big problem that happened. Yes, I admit the mistake. I shouldn't have signed the contract, but getting the name back and feeling like I got to discover who I was without a name.
Mm-hmm.
I got to find out, yes, I love that my identity is wedding dresses, but it's also so many other things.
Yes.
And so I learned so much in that journey. And so now when I say my name, it comes with this just real gratitude and humility
Mm-hmm.
and like fortitude because like I fought for it and got it back.
Like,
and
this is my name.
yes,
But it's just crazy that this could even happen.
it is.
It is nuts to me. I
You
keep
can
going back there.
sign a contract and basically sign away your constitutional rights. And that's what people don't realize is like you believe as a human, you have these rights, right?
Mhm.
But there can be contracts where you actually sign your rights away and without even knowing it or if it's interpreted a certain way.
Right.
And so it's just good to take a beat
It is.
as much as you want the opportunities just to know that you're at least giving yourself a fair chance to not be in a situation like that.
Going through all of this, was there anything you did for yourself? Like, what were things that you would do? Because I've gone to trial, I've done court, I've been sued, and it's horrible. Is there anything that you would do to like get you through your days? Did you start like, I'm someone, I work out all the time and it's a release for me. It's not about the scale, it's mentally, I need that release.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that you did?
You'll appreciate this because movement
Mm-hmm.
was far more profound in my ability to deal with my situation than manifesting
Yeah.
or just motivation even. It was, okay, I'm not feeling great. I'm going to go on a walk. Okay, I'm going to go for a workout. Okay, I'm going to go jump on
I'm
a
so
trampoline.
happy you were able to do that because some people get really depressed and
they
stuck
just
and
don't.
they can't do anything.
It's something I would encourage people to almost force and start small. You know, like
Totally.
do 10 squats in the bathroom and like notice how your physiology just changes.
Yeah.
And it's also really a good distraction of discipline because you feel productive
Mm-hmm.
when you're working out. And I'm sure you have like your routine, you know, you get up, you get your workout in, and you just feel like you're starting your day ahead.
It sets the tone.
It does.
Yeah.
And like it is so up here. It's great for your body, but it is up here where all that work is actually being done.
I tell people that all the time. And I know a lot of the times it's easier said than done. You don't need a trainer. You don't need a private gym because people are like, must be nice for you to say. I'm like, okay, well, you can go on a walk outside, especially like the sunlight or just, and like you said, 10 squats in the bathroom. It's not even about running a marathon. Sometimes you just need to move your body a little bit and your blood flow. It's so silly and simple. Like we don't need all these extras, but it works wonders. It's changed my life. And it's not about like now I'm like, oh, I have a tricep, which I never had 10 years ago.
Like,
And so, and those things are sense of accomplishment for me because it's proven my determination and dedication. So for that, but what it does for me psychologically is so much more than I've ever understood until I started living it.
It's a total game changer.
Now that you have your name back and you did have Chevelle, do you still have Chevelle?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
And where do they merge under one fashion house?
We're trying to figure that out right now, actually. And because you're a branding mogul, you know, oh my gosh, I can figure your brain. But it's one of those things where, okay, I dedicated all this time to a small business. We were manufacturing the shoes. We were start to finish, and it was just me and one business partner. And so it was a heavy lift.
Good for you.
And
that is. And
you've done shoes because those are so hard.
Shoes are so different because all the
size runs. You're guessing.
And don't tell me you're doing widths too.
Of course. Because
for wedding, you have to.
And then like 10s, 11s, 12s. and then people want custom shoes. And you're like, I don't even think I can do that.
Are you doing the 3 widths?
We only did 1 width for a while.
Smart.
And then we cut down to like full sizes. But like, I don't think what people realize is you have to buy your inventory.
Yes.
And you're, okay, how many size 8.5s am I going to sell? Well, I don't know.
And that's why people don't realize why so many people don't do half sizes or don't
go all the way up
right.
to, because of the just differences in
it's
inventory.
It's so much money too. And then storing, like there's so much the minutia that goes all into
And then
it.
people want the turnover because they want new stuff and like
What I want to do with all this other shit.
I know. But
Yes.
it really, I learned so much about business, obviously. It was great. But then when I got the intellectual property back and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to Bridal. Like I'm full speed ahead. Like we're going back into Bridal. I basically just gave myself permission to say, this is a small business with very dedicated, loyal customers. I don't need to be this
Mm-hmm.
right now. I just need to maintain so that I can go over here and get back what I love the most and then find a way to kind of brand them somehow. And we did do a number of shoes that feel very bridal that you can pair with the dresses. But, you know, I'm just managing it the best I can and trying to make sure that I'm giving my best effort because I do feel like I want to make up for lost time a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
especially in bridal.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got great shoes on the collection. And so at least right now, it's just about maintaining it and then figuring out how we can scale at some point.
What part of your like creative identity do you find the most fulfilling right now?
I still very much lead with love, which is such a cliche
that.
thing
No,
to say.
I love
But
that.
it is like, I just love it so much. And I love that I get to do it again. And I love that people love that for me.
Yes.
And so it's just this loop of real security in my life of, okay, I thought it, I got it back. And here we are again. You know, and
Isn't
so
that crazy?
there's like that reunited. It feels so good for sure. But I feel like I didn't lose my whimsy through the
Mm-mm.
wicked parts. And you can, like, life will beat
Yes.
it out of you. And if you just pay attention to who you really are in those moments where your identity is being tested or really circumstances are working against you and reach for what that is, even when you're in your lows, you can still hold on to that, keep that pilot light on. For me, that was creativity and creating things for women. So
I think people need to hear that more than ever right now. So that's beautiful. This is silly, but what is one bridal trend that you're loving right now?
I love a good basque waist. At first, I was, I don't know, because sometimes with the basque waist, so that's when you have like this really deep V in the front. It's very Wuthering Heights, very like Renaissance, very like pirate core kind of, you know? We have very designer terms over here, but I think it is super flattering on proportion and it gives you this room to play with your hip shape
Mm-hmm.
and get that hourglass shape. So for me, I'm so straight up and down a bit. And I've always wanted like that curvy, like beautiful, like snatched waist. And I think the basque is something that gives you that proportion. And I love that the tighter corsets are coming back.
Love
and
the
just
tighter
that, like,
corsets.
snatch
Yes.
at the back.
Snatch the waist.
So I'd say that. But color is also super fun. A lot more brides are open to color options, which I think is great.
What do you think the top like 3 colors are that aren't white?
Blush, blue, and champagne.
Oh, blue's interesting. I've actually never, I don't think I've seen a blue wedding dress.
Something blue.
Yes. No, but I'm like, duh, I get it.
But like a soft powder blue.
Yes. What was the fastest turnaround for a wedding dress that you've been asked to do?
Oh, it has to be my sister's.
No.
Yeah. So she had a surprise wedding.
Oh my, who surprised her?
Well, she
The groom?
surprised everyone. Her group. Surprised we're getting married.
I'm like, wait, this is like so
Oh my
crazy.
God, that would be epic, actually.
That would be.
No, she
Surprised you guys. Got it. I'm like, that's a risky game.
Yes, she surprised all of
Yeah.
her guests, and no one knew except me and basically my parents and the groom. But she and I
Surprise, honey.
both went through divorces. But going back to it, she was like, "Okay, I'm getting married in 2 days." And so it was kind of similar to your situation because
I
you're like,
obviously love
what
her.
can you do for me?
Yeah.
And as a designer, I actually think it's this fun challenge because you're like, okay, let's go. You know, get the scissors. Let's figure this out. And so she did pick something from the existing collection because it's really hard to whip up a full dress in 2 days. But we did tailor it to perfection, and she loves Rod Stewart. So I did like a hand embroidery of a Rod Stewart lyric on the inside of it.
That is so cute.
Still made it special, but that was a pretty quick turnaround.
If you can design anyone's wedding dress, who would it be?
Yours.
Thank you. What would you design for me?
Oh,
Like,
my
do you
gosh.
design? Yeah. What would you design for me?
Ooh. Gosh, you would look so. I mean, okay.
And that's on the spot.
My
I know.
brain
I
is
hate
spinning. No,
when people ask me things on. I'm like, what's your favorite movie? I'm like,
really love a basque waist for you.
okay.
I think we need something that's a bit more moody
Okay.
and structured, but
Love
like has like an
structure.
architectural vibe to it, but like a hint of whimsy. I would want to like really push up the
Yes.
neckline,
Talk
like
to
give
me.
that sexiness.
Talk to me.
And like we have to show off the triceps.
Ah,
So I
okay.
would go strapless, but I want some like really fabulous seam work in the bodice.
love.
And then I think the skirt, we go a little bit more dramatic, like still structured, but I think I want to see you in like more of a ball gown.
Yes. Okay.
Corset
Well,
back.
I love it. Of course. You're
We
like
need a veil.
turning
Mattia
me
veil.
on. Oh,
I don't know.
gosh.
We
I
would
feel
have
like
some
you're
fun.
flirting with
And
me.
we need
I'm
like
like,
we need like 5 looks.
sure, we do. And I sort of want them all really different.
Yes, eclectic.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. You are versatile. Have you seen you?
I mean, I just
You
like
could wear a
to
trash
be.
bag, which we won't put you in.
Okay,
but
sure. No, just kidding.
You look amazing.
I like to just try sort of anything and everything. It's just fun.
Yeah, we got to play dress up.
For you, veil or no veil?
Veil.
Yeah, right?
Every time, because it's just a moment anyway. So have it.
I don't understand why people don't wear a veil. It's your wedding.
It is like a nuisance sometimes. Like if you're outside and it's windy and you got to get the weight right.
Yes.
But I just think it's the drama. It completes the look.
Yes.
And like go big or go home.
I love the drama.
But you're asking.
Yeah.
As a wedding dress designer.
Big wedding or intimate wedding?
Oh gosh, both. I would say do one of each.
Yeah, that's my girl. Okay. Yes. Classic dress or dramatic dress?
Dramatic.
I know that answer. That's silly.
Can't not.
Okay. Do you want a first look or an aisle reveal?
Aisle reveal.
Right?
Yes.
And then do your fake first look photos after.
Yes.
Yes.
Skip the cocktail hour. Let your guests get to know each other and then come into the dinner.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love the aisle reveal.
Yeah.
Destination wedding or hometown wedding?
Destination.
Really?
Yeah. I think it is really fun to give your guests, because people are going to be flying in anyway, but to make it feel like a bit of a vacation, like a retreat. And like that's their gift to you, or like their gift to you for coming to your wedding. Like,
yes.
We're not going to register or anything because I feel like making people travel, it's like.
Yes. And I think that's so kind when people press about that gift. I'm like, you just flew to Italy. No.
Oh, we're doing Italy now. I love this.
Oh, yes. We're going to Italy.
Perfect.
We're going to Italy. How's it like planning your own wedding?
It's a bit chaotic because I'm still in transition of designing the collections. Our new collection's coming out in like 4 days.
Oh my gosh.
And we just did the first one in Palm Beach 6 months ago. And then I'm designing for my wedding.
Right. Your personal.
Next launch.
Yes.
So there's a lot of overlapping layers. And I would say one thing that's great is while I do care about the details, I have so many great service professionals, like wedding planners. Sam Coma is like insanely cool and talented. And I can just be like, you've got this.
So you're not a big bridezilla.
I don't think I don't know. Maybe.
I was super chill about mine,
Bridezilla.
but it was more bridezilla. Yeah. But it was more my mom needed to have a wedding for us, one of us. And I was like, yeah, you like.
I could see that happening.
Do it. Like,
she's I got this.
Yeah, she's like, I got this. And I loved that. Me thinking about napkins I'm like, what I can't process all that. I just wanted to get married.
Yeah.
So I would have showed up anywhere. I would have done a courthouse wedding. I didn't care about that. I'm so happy I had my wedding. I love it. But I don't think I could have handled the planning. There's too many questions.
But you're so detail oriented.
I know.
I know you're like a little OCD because so is my fiance.
Yes.
And like, I feel like you have just a detailed brain.
Yes.
And so like caring about that stuff just is such a good thing, you know?
It is, but I think I would care too much about everything. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You do you, girl. What's next for you? I mean, you just told me 15 things that you're doing. So I don't think
for sure. Yeah.
Look, I don't have time to think about this.
We definitely need to get on our save the dates because we're getting married this year. We were like 7 years, and then all of a sudden
You
I'm like, it's too soon.
You didn't send out your save the dates yet?
No.
Okay.
I'm a professional, I swear, but in this moment, but no, I do feel I want to be careful to be super mindful right now and like present because there's a part of me that has felt like I've been on the hamster wheel running and running and running for my life, and then now I'm like rebuilding and I want to get this back out there and I've got the small business and now we're getting married. And so like
And you're doing a
sometimes
lot at one time.
and I get nervous that I'm like, okay, am I here right now, present in this moment? Because a lot of times I just feel like, what's next? So I would say what's next is that I need to just be like present.
Yeah, I get
Focus on
that.
that.
Do you see yourself expanding from the bridal world into a different category? I know keeping shoes, keeping bridal.
Yes, I would.
That's amazing.
But I would also want to take advice from people that have really learned how to brand properly, because I think for me, I've just been really focused in the bridal world.
Mhm.
And then when I started my small business, like I really understood my own limitations and
Right.
what I needed to learn. And it's so important to bring people into your atmosphere that are really good at what they do
Yes.
and that you can trust and that they can handle the job, and like right now I have that with my bridal company. I still independently own it, but I have this amazing manufacturing distribution sales team with Maddie Lane Bridal. And so I want that if I was to do anything else, where
Yes.
it's like you've got this amalgamation of specialty people doing what they're good at. And
What
so,
they do their whole career.
but what about you? Is there an area that you've been wanting to go into? Because I mean, your branding is so beautiful and
Thank
so
you.
many different categories that are all different.
Thank you.
But is there one that is tapping you on the shoulder a little bit that you've not gone into yet?
Not right now. So I turned 40 almost 2 years ago. I can't believe that. And I started this podcast and I didn't and all these things like, contracts we were talking about. I started this podcast, fragrance, and my snack food brand, Cloud. They all came out at the same time, but that was never the intention. And I love each one of them. They're all so different.
Mm-hmm.
And I love each one of them, but I don't want to just be like, okay, and now I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I really, really want to marinate with each one. And I think that is important because I love each one. And I've never done snacks before. So I'm like, I have to really engross myself in this field because I don't know a lot about it. I go to food expos and do these things to
That sounds like a dream.
I
You get to
mean,
go try snacks and
yes,
stuff.
you
I'm
go
like,
around to different booths and you do things like that. But things that I've never done because I didn't have a reason to. Fashion, I feel like I know really, really well, either from the buying side, from owning a clothing store. And so podcasting, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like I had to learn more about it.
Right.
In season 1, our format was a little different than season 3 because we had to try things to see what stuck and even what I like out of it. And so right now, I feel so fulfilled with everything I'm doing, but they're all babies. So I still have to watch my babies right now.
Yes. Vertically integrate.
Yes.
Yes.
And so
Yeah. I
maybe
like
in a
that.
few years, if you ask me, I'll have a different answer. But right now I'm like, no, I'm kicking ass trying to educate myself more about all of these different fields that I love so much. And it's exciting because not that I was ever bored with what I was doing before, but there was so much that I just, no, it's autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, TV, I got this. Clothing, I got this. And I'm like, so now doing different things that are newer, it is like this new surge of energy that I have and passion.
Yeah. And there's like a tendency for people to think, especially with somebody who is so visible, and just like has this amazing community behind her, that it's like, oh, she's going into this and hit it and quit it, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, like so much goes into these launches
So much
and
does.
perfecting it. And like, again, being OCD or very
Yes.
detailed, like I
Yes.
can imagine you're like, so like the care that goes into it is so
Well,
important.
I feel like you're a lot like me because you keep talking about your audience. And I care so much about ever giving out like wrong information.
Mhm.
So I do my best to realize sometimes I forget like, oh, people are watching this. Like it's not just the people in here.
It's not just you and me.
No, like
Say
it's I'm so used to this that sometimes I can forget. So I'll say like silly things are inappropriate, but like I genuinely want to believe in anything that I'm doing because I know how much that matters to the people that are rallying behind me. And I know how hard it is to make money. I know how hard people work and I never want to take advantage of that. And so I'm always really, really thoughtful. I try to be with what I'm doing and what the messaging I'm putting out there, because I know how much it matters and how, especially in today's day, we like want hope and something to hold on to. I'm like, I hope I'm giving the right messaging and putting the right energy out there because it does make a
Yes.
difference.
Yeah.
And I can tell you're like that too.
Mhm.
And it's important because so many people just frivolously do things.
That's so wonderful, Khloe. Like, it's very
Aw,
inspiring
thank
to hear
you.
that, and special because it reminds people that no matter like where you are in your life, caring about how people receive you, that's the real karma. That's the real stuff
Yeah,
that matters. That
it
compounds
matters.
over time.
Yeah.
Because fortune can change, but
Yes.
who you are, like that's something to build on.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I want you to remind everyone about your nonprofit and your app.
So the the nonprofit is called A Girl You Might Know
Yes.
Foundation. So with little cheeky fun play off of that phrase. And yeah, it's agirlyoumightknowfoundation.org where all the information is. And then HayleyPaige.com is the main bridal. And then I have Miss Hayley Paige back, which is the Instagram we fought hard to get.
Crazy.
And so, but now I have like 100 Instagrams because I
Oh my
started all
gosh.
these other ones.
Don't you wish you could like somehow merge them? I know.
Because I don't want to fatigue my audience too.
Or
Because-
yourself.
Yeah. Or that.
I'm like,
Good
it's
point.
exhausting.
Yes.
Even just going
So-
from like Instagram to TikTok, I'm like, oh, I can't.
Do you TikTok
I'm a
lot?
millennial. No.
No, same. I am like,
No.
how do I tick the talk? Like,
Well, and because they're different. It's different
it's very
content.
different. It's very raw. And I'm like,
Yes.
I want
No, this isn't raw.
to be
Yeah.
camera ready.
Yes. No, we're not raw.
So
I'm not. Yeah,
just
no.
the heart.
Yeah, the heart, but this is, I'm like, this
This is glam.
I do
okay?
not wake up like this.
Match this energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. But other than that, that's where they can find me in stores now. So bridal stores.
And don't you have an app or did I make that up?
Yeah, I do have so I actually do have an app.
Oh, I was
It's called Holy Matchmoji, which is a emoji app, and it was
how
actually
cute.
I was inspired by Kim's
The Kimoji.
emoji.
Oh my gosh.
So it's Holy Matchmoji.
I love that. That is so cute.
But now you can like make an app like that in ChatGPT in like 5 minutes, and it took me like 2 years to create the vectors
no,
for this.
I know
so
it's crazy.
it's kind of obsolete, but and then we do have She Is Cheval, which is the shoe brand. So
Well, you are busy. You are a busy girl, but I'm so happy for you. Everything is so positive, and that is your karma because you deserve all the positive and all the love and all the success. And I'm so happy for you.
thank you, Khloe.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And thank you for all that you do for these young men and women, both of them. But you help so many people and letting them just feel like there's light or at least a place they can go to if they have questions or feel like they're struggling themselves or not getting themselves in bad situations. So thank you so, so much.